question. Sunny, looking into the future, what do we need to create? I mean, what is it that we're working towards?
Well, I mean, I can't answer that question for you. For me, when someone said, "Why did you create Liberal Conspiracy?" the simple answer is, it is an attempt to create a left-wing conspiracy against the right. So, I make no bones about the fact that we are highly partisan, that we are all about making the left stronger, destroying the right. Getting together people in a space and then getting them to have a discussion about what needs to be done politically, strategically, organizationally, all these sorts of things. I mean, the fact that we have contempt for the Conservative Party is actually a given. So, we make no bones about that. So, and in one sense, that's the mission and I think it's important to have that, to almost say, I'm not here as a Guardian or the Telegraph, as a journalist who sort of is, supposed to have a standard regardless of their political leanings. We just say, we're taking the debate a bit further and saying, if you're a left-wing activist or just interested in left-wing politics, Labour politics, whatever it is, and you want to take power, you want to figure out how do you change public opinion on particular issues, how do you organise, what needs to be the strategy, then this is the space. Other people can have a debate about and that's not to say we don't have debates about the political economy and all this kind of stuff. We do have those debates as well. I'm just saying there is a strong strategic element to what we do, which is not in the mainstream media, and that's what makes us different. And I think it's important to have that.
Going? What are we working towards? Anything? You were the person who said we just drove away. You're the person.
Basically, it started from why do I blog? Why did I blog? Because I had somewhere to vent. I then continued blogging after discovering it was quite fun to vent. I then found myself a job in which I was supposed to be paid to vent, and discovered that nobody wants to listen to my paid vent. So I continued blogging because that's the only place I can go. What's weird, and what I've personally found very difficult recently, is the fact that, my God, somebody's actually taking my paid vents. And so my own blogging has suffered commensurately, because I could actually get my stories out there into the mainstream media sometimes, whereas in the past I wasn't able to. So, and yes, keep plugging, because if I might change my mind, I might discover that in fact the Sunday Dublins are populated by people I must have found wrong word, but I doubt it. However, I suspect I'm going to be driven to be noisy about something, even if I give up on Europe. I don't think I'm ever going to go and find those roses that interesting, and so therefore I'm always going to battle on and rant about something or other. Be it culture, be it arts, be it whatever. It is however, there is, and one can see it, I think it's very much different in something like Fistful of Euros or Liberal Conspiracy or the group blogs. It's very difficult, despite what you're very clearly trying to do, I think it's very difficult to see a mind. And one of the things I like about blogs, particularly individual blogs, is you can see somebody's mind in it. And you actually, over a period of time, if you go back and you go back and you go back, Dick over there, you don't want to see his mind. But frankly, that is what is interesting. You're actually becoming engaged in a debate with somebody, and that the blogosphere, the Euroblogosphere is it's not a snug, I'm sure it's not a snug, it's not a smoking area, but it is a room in the pub in which we discuss things. And I find the whole blogosphere, the Euroblogosphere, but the broader blogosphere, is essentially people in the pub discussing. Sometimes they get trolly and shout at each other. Well, people ignore them and move on to something else, and move on to a different conversation. But that's essentially what we're talking about. It is a global, a European, a British discussion in the pub.
Bruno, you started by mentioning a public sphere. Do you have any thoughts? And then we'll open up to questions from the audience.
I do. I just want to quickly say something about what Sunny said, because I think it's important, and I think it's one of the things that's disappointing about liberal conspiracy. I think people should have standards because they have principles, and your standards arise from that. Otherwise, you're just dealing in totems and hackery. And I really don't. I wouldn't want to, certainly on my blog, be writing something just out of sheer hackery because I want to score one up. I would want to measure other people and judge them and judge ideas on the basis of whether they're right and they make life better for people. In terms of the kind of European public and all the rest of it, I mean, I think Habermas probably shouldn't be talked about on panels. I'm not a fan. But one thing that is certainly true that up until the Second World War, there was a European public space. There were European intellectuals who spoke many languages quite often, but they shared one kind of moral intellectual language, which was tended to be kind of pro-enlightenment, pro-humanist, based around ideas that are kind of common principles and universal assumptions that sometimes meant that you should look outside the barriers of nation states and borders and all the rest of it. So I suppose when I'm talking about the idea of building a public, a European public, because I'm a British person who works in Brussels, I'm quite interested in European trends and how they're similar to trends in other countries. At the end of the day, all about politics and the principles that underlie it, things that all human beings can understand and should understand. So I suppose it's about taking a kind of interest in Europe and those kinds of wider trends, and that's why I blog, because I'm interested in those. I'm always rather shocked by the fact that a lot of people who certainly when I first arrived there, I was very shocked by how many people in Brussels actually weren't very interested to. A lot of people who work in the EU institutions aren't actually really interested in what happens in European countries. They're interested in their careers and the institutions in which they are having their careers. I'm always quite shocked and surprised how few people read websites in other countries, for example. So in France, they have one of the best political liberal political websites going, Rue 89. It's fantastic, brilliant. I highly recommend it to anybody. Just have a little French dictionary by you. You'll find, and they're really showing the way in terms of a kind of, and they write about what's going on in other countries too. The reason why you have world news, as it's been politically correctly known at the moment, is because actually what goes on in other countries, in the other side of the world, and in Europe, the other side of the channel, does actually have a bearing and an impact on our lives, because actually we're also human beings. It might not have a direct impact on our pocket or our taxation or something so banal, but we are human beings. We are part of a wider humanity. So I see the project, if you like, of what I would like to try and do, and it was very, very small, is to create a genuinely kind of European public discussion around the kind of issues that intellectuals used to be concerned about between the wars.
We didn't, this is something we didn't touch on, but I'm going to open up to the audience. We didn't talk about the language issue, of course, about whether creating a European public is at all possible. But I think we'll open up to the audience. So